Today's class continues our series of classes on yoga for the emotions with yoga for calmness. Hello, welcome to episode 2.
Here's our blanket.
Excellent.
Asymmetrical twist. Dropping and sinking up. Notice how
So just notice.
Joining us for the second episode of next week.
Namaste. Hello and welcome to episode 103 of Namaste Yoga. The leaves are falling from the trees and we're lucky enough to still be filming outside. Today I'm on Lake Ontario and happy to be able to place it in the background today too. Before we start, I wanted to thank Jessica Stowell, who recently donated a monthly donation of $10 a month. And the reason why this one is particularly special is because you may remember, I can't remember how many episodes back, I thanked Jessica she sent me a really beautiful long email about how much she enjoyed Namaste Yoga, but that she couldn't make a donation at that time because she didn't have work. Well, she promised that when she got work, she would make a donation, and Jessica is now working as a nursing assistant and is just super happy to be donating monthly. So I feel really touched by that, and I feel really touched by any of you who feel inspired that you value Namaste Yoga enough to make a monthly donation or a one-time donation. You can make donations at www.melissawest.com, and they are very much appreciated. We are continually striving to improve the podcast for you. One of the things I know that we really need to do right now is replace our headsets and mics, just because you may have noticed they're going in and out a little bit more. And so all these expenses do add up, and your donations really help us to continue to make this a free weekly yoga video podcast with your support. So thank you so much. We do truly appreciate it. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're continuing our series of classes on yoga for the emotions. This series is based on Peter Marchand's book, The Yoga of 9 Emotions, Rasa Sadhana. And we're working through many of the emotions that he covers off in his book. This week, we're going to work with the emotion of calmness. I love this class. You're going to love this class. I think it's going to be one of the favorites, like the restorative yoga class. So I'm going to ask you to rest back on your backs, lie back in Savasana. So resting back, we're going to work with a mantra today. This is a mantra that I learned from one of my favorite Buddhist teachers in the world. His name is Tich Nhat Hanh. And it is a really simple mantra. As you breathe in, you say, breathing in, I calm my body. And as you breathe out, you say, breathing out, I smile. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. And as you breathe out, actually turn the corners of your mouth up as you say, breathing out, I smile. The emotion that we're working with this week is calmness, and the Sanskrit word for calmness is really close to the Sanskrit word for peace, shanti, and calmness is shanta. It has to do with creating peace and stillness in our body, and it's really important to revitalize our bodies and our minds. One of the ways that we can do this is taking breaks, and we do this by getting a good night's sleep at night, taking breaks during our day. But also really important to this practice is this idea of pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses. In our day-to-day culture, we are so inundated with media and demands from every which direction that it can be useful to turn our senses inward. And we do this every time we practice yoga. In fact, on my yoga retreat from October 21st to 23rd of this year, 2011, one of the things we're going to be doing is withdrawing from speech. We'll be going into silence. And this really helps to create peace in our communication. So a speech fast can create calmness in our communication. A food fast can create calmness in our digestive tract. Yoga postures help to create calmness in our body. In pranayama, like you're doing right now, breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile, helps to create calmness in our bodies, our minds, our emotions, and our spirit. So this is a really good class to follow last week's class on anger. We worked with reflecting to calmness with anger. And this is related to the air element and the vata dosha. So if the vata dosha is disturbed, our peace of mind is not possible. And so vata, which creates movement, creates restlessness. And so if we can balance that vata, our fourth chakra in our heart, our air elements, then we can find inner peace. And one of the ways we do this is through our breath, like you're doing right now. Slowing down your breath slows down your heartbeat, and it reduces your adrenaline. And I think really we've talked about how certain emotions are rajasic, certain emotions are sattvic, and certain emotions are tamasic. And this is a very sattvic emotion, so it's very peaceful and harmonizing. It's a good centering point to come back to often in our practices. Anger, joy, these are more rajasic. Tamasic might be sadness. So to come back to calmness is a way to come back to that center point, that peaceful state. So one of the ways also to create calmness in our life is to follow our dharma. When we veer off our path and get distracted by things that are not part of our purpose, it can create a restlessness in our lives. So I know I have to continually check in on this. You know, is this important for me, or is this important for the other person that's asking this of me? So continually checking in, is this important to my dharma, to my purpose, to my highest level of being, can help you stay in that really calm state. Also, we worked with aparigraha when we worked with this series on the yamas and the niyamas, which runs about episode 33 to 43. You can check back in on. And when we focus on what we truly need and we don't hoard or take in things that we don't need, then we don't get that restlessness. So the way that Peter Marchand describes this, he says, when we focus on what we truly need, then the wind of desire do not create any rippling effects on the surface of the pond. So I think that was all I wanted to say about the emotion of calmness for now. I'm sure other things will come to me as we get into the postures and the movement. We're going to work with a series of vinyasas, simple movements with breath. And I have to say that most of these I learned from Mark Whitwell, and he is just one of the most beautiful men on the planet today. His teachings are so gorgeous. He wrote a book called The Yoga of Heart. So I strongly recommend that you check that out. But we'll be using a lot of his sequences today because I find they do truly create calmness in my body. So we're going to start by lying down. Okay, so the first vinyasa that we'll start with, the start and finish point, is drawing your knees into your chest. So take a normal breath in and a normal breath out. And inhale, straighten out your legs and take your arms overhead. And exhale and bring your knees to your chest. Inhale, straighten your legs, arms overhead. Exhale, knees to chest. And then we're going to add on to that. Inhale, take your arms overhead, your legs up. Breathe out, bring your knees to your chest. Inhale, lower your feet, lift up into bridge, take your arms overhead. Exhale, bring your knees to your chest. Inhale, straighten up. Exhale, knees to chest. Inhale, bridge pose. Exhale, knees to chest. And let's just keep going with that. And then just pause here and see if there's more calmness in your body, in your mind, in your emotions. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is not a Mark Whitwell vinyasa. It's one that I learned from a Kapala teacher named Don Stapleton. And I'm not remembering the name of his book right now, but you can look him up, Don Stapleton. What we're going to do is inhale, exhale, roll your head to the right side. Breathe in, bring your head back center. Breathe out, roll your head to the left side. And just go back and forth like that. Now you can keep using that Tich Nhat Hanh mantra. Breathing in, I calm my body. And breathing out, I smile. And let's add on to this sequence by holding on to your elbows. Let your shoulders be heavy here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Roll your head and lower your elbows to one side. Breathe in, center. Breathe out. Roll your head and lower your elbows to the other side. So this is a great way to unravel tension from your body. I find these vinyasas so calming. They just unwind tension from your body. Bring you into a state of calm. Breathe your head in, back center. And this time, keep your head in the center. Breathe out, lower your elbows to one side. Breathe in center. Breathe out, lower your elbows to the other side. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. And then breathe in center. This time, lower your elbows to the right, roll your head to the left. Keep going back and forth, moving slowly with breath. Notice any tendency to rush this. I noticed all my type A yoga students this week rushing through the sequence as if there's somewhere to get to. Don't do that. I love how Mark Whitwell says there's nowhere to get to. You're already there. Then come back center. Okay, this time, sway your knees to the left, roll your head and your elbows to the right. So you do a little twist here. Breathe in center. Oh, the sun's coming out. Breathe out, lower your knees to the right, sway your elbows and head to the left, and go back and forth. And if it feels like your body wants to pause anywhere, then definitely listen to your body. Stop, pause, feel the stretch. Come back center. Okay, this time, elbows go to the right, your head and your knees go to the left. Breathe in center, breathe out lower to the sides. Okay, and then breathe everything back into the center. Just take a pause here in Savasana. Check in with your body. Notice how your body is feeling. Become aware of your breath, your thoughts, your emotions. And just check in and see where things are at right now. Then you can bend your knees, roll to your side, and come up onto all fours. I thought there was going to be some leaves to deal with when we came up. I saw a lot falling. Okay, here's our next vinyasa once we clear the leaves. You're going to start on all fours. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Okay, so for wrists, I've been getting a lot of questions about this sent to me directly at my email at info@melissawest.com, but also on our Facebook page at facebook.com/yournamasteyoga. Wrists. This is definitely an issue. In this one, because we're going to be moving to downward facing dog, you kind of do have to do this on your palms. But one way you can take it out of your wrists is to really spread your fingers wide and reach out into the webs of your hands, okay, so that your wrists are really lifted. And you can see there's not that really direct right angle, but leaning back a little bit too, so less weight through your wrists. That's one thing you can do here. You can come onto fists too. There are things like wedges that you can buy to lift your wrists. Or even if you have some free weights, you can hold on to free weights like this so that your wrists stay straight here too. So there's a few options for that, since that's been a question that's been coming up. So breathe in here. Breathe out, come into child's pose. Breathe and come back up. Tuck your toes under. Breathe out and come into downward facing dog. Breathe in, bend your knees. Breathe out, sit back into child's pose. Breathe in, back up to all fours. Tuck your toes under. Breathe out into downward facing dog. Breathe in, knee bends. Breathe out, child's pose. Breathe in, table. Breathe out, down dog. And this is another Mark Whitwell vinyasa. Keep going with that moving. Okay, and then maybe just pause here in child's pose. Okay, roll up. Our next little vinyasa is just this one that I do often. I don't know that anybody owns this one. You're going to walk your left leg forward and lean into a lunge pose. And then inhale, lean back into a hamstring stretch. Keep your whole foot on the ground. And exhale, rock forward. So just gently opening out the fronts of your hips. Okay, and then let's switch sides. So bring your left foot back. Right, walk your right leg forward. And And exhaling forward and inhaling back. Now, I know when I was doing this in the studio this week inside, I needed to double up my mat under. I want a nice plush ground here, but you might need extra padding under your knees here. So I think it was Donna who just before I came out here asked me about sequences for arthritis. This whole class is so great for arthritis because you can see it gets that anytime you move in the joints like this, lubricates the joints. So great for arthritis. It's kind of moving in the joints. Okay, and then bring your right knee back. And, oh yeah, I forgot we were going to do that one. So we're going to do mini sun salutations. This is a really gorgeous little salute. You're going to start with your hands at your heart center. Inhale, reach up your heart towards the sun. Tuck your tail under. Exhale, fold forward into child's pose with your hands down by your feet. Inhale, peel your spine up off your legs. Come back up onto your knees. And exhale, bring your hands to your heart center. Inhale, reach up, tuck your tail under, lift your heart. Exhale, fold forward, hands down by your feet. Inhale, peel your spine off your legs, straighten out your legs. Exhale, hands to your heart center. Inhale, reach up. I learned this from Michael Stone. He's a great teacher in Toronto. Teaches a lot on Buddhism and yoga philosophy. He said this is the kind of sun salutations you can do if you live in an attic. This to me is such a Toronto sun salutations because so many people living in such a small area. You know, you live in small spaces, you need small sun salutations. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward, child's pose. Inhale, peel your spine off, reach up. Exhale, hands to your heart center. One more like that. Great. Okay. Moving on. This part I wish I'd brought my blocks for, but if you have blocks at home, yoga blocks, you could use these. You're going to place your left heel in front of your right knee. The shorter the distance between these two places, the easier this is going to be for you. We're going to come from a square lunge into Parjottanasana. So tuck your right toes under at the back. Breathe out, straighten out through both of your legs. Now, you can do this up on blocks or paint cans, anything that would work like that. And if this is difficult, then you can modify it by bringing your back leg in. Okay? So you're going to inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. This is Parjottanasana, standing forward folding triangle or pyramid pose. Forward folds are said to be very calming. Okay, and then let's switch sides. Bring your right heel in front of your left knee. Tuck your left toes under. Breathe in. Breathe out, straighten out through both of your legs. Breathe in, bend your knees. And then straighten out both your legs again. Step your back leg in. Pause here in a standing forward fold. And then slowly come up to standing calmly. Okay. Stand with your feet underneath your hip bones. Lengthen your legs long down underneath you. Inhale, take your arms straight up overhead. Exhale, side bend to one side. Inhale, center. So you may remember last week we worked with this in 102, Namaste 102, the yoga for anger, working with the crescent moon position to get that calming energy of the moon. Okay, and come back center. And I want to continue with that moon theme and work with half moon balancing pose. This is another great one where you can use the yoga blocks. So if you have blocks, you can use them underneath your hands. The way this will start, also great to use a wall for this. So when we open up, you could, if you have a wall behind you, that can be really helpful because it's a balancing posture. If you can just lean into the wall, you can receive the posture. So come into a standing forward fold. Place your hands on the ground. Going to take your right leg back up and behind you and open up your right hip. From here you can either keep your right hand on the ground or open it up as well. And here you can also keep your eyes on the ground, which is easiest for your inner ears. If you start turning your head, which you can do, turn your head up towards the sky, it's just more of a balance challenge. Okay, great. Oh. Slowly come up. So I feel like here's where I need to say yoga is not a spectator sport, because I feel like maybe some of you are just watching that last one. Okay, so I'm going to turn sideways to open up to you this way. So you come into a standing forward fold. Place your hands on the ground. We'll do the other side. Take your left leg up and behind you. Open your left hip. Maybe lift your left arm. Your eyes can stay on the ground, or you can start to turn them up towards the ceiling. Woo. So I feel like this is a pose where you really do have to work with that energy of surrendering into and receiving the pose calmly. The more you effort yourself into this pose, the more it falls apart on you. So it's really important that we work with it that way. Let's just try it one more time. So choose which side you want to try again, or maybe you're still working with it. Left leg up and open. And focus on calmly receiving this pose. Okay. So this pose uses that real feminine energy of receiving versus that masculine energy of really doing. That works really well. Okay, now we need to find a wall or a tree in our case. So go ahead and move yourselves to your wall so we can do legs up the wall. The trick to getting your butt really close to the wall when you do legs up the wall is to sit right on the edge of your mat and get your hip right up against the wall. So I could afford to move a little closer here. And then what I'm going to do is swing my legs around. And try not to fall down the hill here. And what we're going to do is just bend your knees slightly. And then roll back down through your spine. It's a really nice massage for your central nervous system. Maybe just one more. And then to come out of here, bend your knees, roll to your side. And I'm going to get you to come over onto your stomach. I'm going to just tree. Check in with your low back here and see if maybe you need to back off a little bit. If you do, you can walk your elbows forward a little bit more. You don't want any pinching in your low back here. And then we're going to do this little vinyasa here that I learned in Feldenkrais, where you glide your left shoulder back and your right shoulder forward. Look over your left shoulder. Breathe in center. Breathe out. Glide your left shoulder forward, your right shoulder back. Look over your right shoulder. And go back and forth like that. And then come back to center. Take your hands underneath your push yourself up and back into child's pose. And then roll up to your spine and come up to a wide. So you're going to come to a seated position and sit with your legs wide. Okay? Just wide enough. Lengthen up tall through your spine. And we're going to do a forward fold series. What did I say about needing new mics today? Exercise. Going to do a series of forward folds. Forward folds are said to induce calmness. It takes a lot of patience, though. It's not generally something that most people have come easily. So it's a good practice in finding calmness, because we got to just rest back into it and wait and be patient. So inhale, lengthen your spine up long. Exhale, you're going to hinge forward from your hips. It can be very useful to prop up your hips behind you so your pelvis is tipped forward. Keep your spine long and reach forward through your navel and your heart center. Hinge back up through your hips. Bring your legs into the center. Slide your left leg in. Lengthen up through your spine. Wrap your right arm around your left leg and turn towards it for a twist. Inhale, face back front. Open your left knee out to the side. Lengthen up tall through your spine. Exhale, hinge forward through your hips again for a seated forward fold. Janu Shasana. Shoulders down away from your ears. Ears back over your shoulders. Hinge back up. Cross your left leg all the way over your right leg for cow's face pose. Inhale. Exhale, hinge forward over your right leg. Hinge back up. You're going to, this is for giggles and kicks, as my husband likes to say. You're going to take your hands around the outside of your feet, and you're going to inhale, exhale, straighten out your left leg, maybe towards, not because Tim does this, but he likes to use that expression for giggles and kicks. Now take your right hand to the outside of your left leg. Turn towards it. Take your left hand behind you so you're in a twist here. And potentially, remember, I'm the real person doing the real yoga. Potentially this left leg could be straight. Okay, and then you're going to lower your left leg down. Inhale, lengthen up through your spine. Exhale, hinge forward through your hips to fold forward over both your legs straight in front of you. Paschimottanasana. You can do this with your knees bent as well. Okay, come back up. Let's do the other side and then we'll be finished. Open your legs wide. Inhale, exhale, hinge forward through your hips. Hinge back up. Bring your legs to the center. Bend your right leg in. Wrap your left arm around your right leg. Turn towards it. Spinal twist. Come back center, open your right knee out to the side. Inhale, exhale, hinge forward through your hips over your left leg. Okay, hinge back up, cross your right leg all the way over your left leg. Wow, it's spider central over here. Go off the mat. It's like the third one. Inhale, exhale, hinge forward through your hips. And hinge back up. Okay, just like the other side for giggles and kicks. Take your hands around your right foot. Inhale, exhale, maybe straighten this leg all the way out. You know, potentially if we were yoga models, you might be able to straighten this leg and touch your nose to your shin. And then take your left hand to the outside of your right leg and turn toward it. Okay, come back center, both legs in front. Inhale, reach up nice and tall. We're on the final stretch now. Exhale, hinge forward through your hips, Paschimottanasana. Hinging back up, and one more time just to check in to see how that all feels after that whole sequence. Tip your pelvis forward and come into wide-legged seated forward fold. See if that doesn't feel a little easier here. up, bring your legs together. And I'm going to get you to rest back for 5 to 10 minutes of Savasana. This is really the most important part of your practice. In order to keep our resolution really high, we stop our video here so that you have really good quality tape, but I want to really stress the importance of you lying down and taking 10 minutes to integrate your practice now. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 103 of Namaste Yoga. Namaste Yoga for calmness. Next step now is for you to go to Facebook and join our Facebook community there at www.facebook.com/yournamasteyoga. Thanks so much for being with us this week. Namaste.